And also we have Henrik Hulelund, who's a fantastic Danish athlete for the men as well.
What I like about this distance, you have someone like Thomas who's coming from ITU and stepping up to a longer distance. Then you got some guys who really have Ironman background coming down to this half distance. It's a nice little melting pot of both distances.
Yeah, absolutely, and it acts as a good training event for those ITU short distance athletes like Thomas to get the speed in, and the endurance.
And same for the women. Michelle Vesterby in the red goggles, one of Denmark's greatest female triathlons. She's been fourth and 12th and 13th in Kona. Talk a little bit about the women's side for Denmark.
Yeah, Denmark has a fantastic depth of women. You have Helle Fredriksen, you have Camilla Pedersen, you have Michelle, and they really know how to race. And for Michelle to be racing in her hometown of Herning here, it's fantastic for the sport of Denmark.
Well, and for someone like Michelle, people think of her as someone who can handle longer distance. She's better at Ironman. Seems like she runs the same type of pace for a half or a full in the run portion, that she has a hard time going fast. She's training with Luke Van Lierde now, Ironman champion, two-time Ironman champion, and she looked leaner to me than I've seen her look before.
Yeah, Michelle is the Danish diesel, as we like to call her. She just has this one pace that she can do all day long, and as we see her there on the swim, just trailing Mary Beth Ellis, this is a fantastic event for Michelle to just test the run speed, I guess. Yeah,
and the other side of this is we talk about the elites a lot. The age group side is what makes triathlon so successful. We're talking about people who are, in this case, this is our women age groups. These are moms. These are working women who balance their training and fitness with being a mom and being a working woman. Talk a little bit about, because I know Hella is very involved with working with age group women as well.
Yeah, age group in general, women, men, they're the bread and butter of the sport. And I think for professionals to step down and consult and engage and mentor age group athletes in general, it helps the sport grow. Like we see here in front of us, they're not the elite level of the sport, but they get in there, they get it done, and they enjoy it. And it's a community side of the sport that we need for the sport to grow on a global level.
And the other side of that is, here's our elite guys coming out of the water, and the sport has gotten so fast now, you cannot have a weakness, not just swim, bike, run, but transition. How important has a transition become in becoming the best of the best?
Yeah, it's critical, and I think you see the top 1% of the professionals. They really have the transitions dialed in. They know the routine from when they get into the transition to when they get out. When they take the goggles up, is it goggles up first? Is it hat off? Is it zip down? They have that routine dialed. And as we see here, some they panic, they struggle, and they can lose a lot of time in transition. So you really, really have to get it dialed in and get it, known what you're going to do in and out and get on with it.
Yeah, and it's minimalist. In days gone by, people would go into a changing tent. Not anymore. It's, let's grab our aero helmet, get it on, my shoes are already on the pedals, and let's see how quickly we can get out.
Yeah, and you see with these four lead guys here that have Jensen, Bockel, Fachbach, and Thomas Stranger, it's critical for them to get in and out as a group. You don't want one person to get away in that section, and as you can see there, the speed is optimal, but at the same time you need to be very careful as Jens Toft of Denmark comes in there.
Well, and for him right now, and we're going to see some other guys too, they're in no man's land. When you come out and you don't have this athlete comes in, he's going to be riding on his own. And mentally, how tough is that, knowing there's a group a little bit in front of you?
Yeah, solo is the toughest, and you really have to be prepared for going it alone. If you come out of the swim by yourself, it's harder than having 2 or 3 people in a group where you can just feed off. Psychologically, you can take a lot of positives and negatives away from that. And it's as you see this athlete now by himself, it's a lot of ground to make up. And I think this is Christian Munk Nielsen of Denmark, and he has a lot of work to do, and he will know that though. He knows his level, and it's about getting the head down and just not thinking about anything other than chasing.
Yeah, and we have our women coming in now, and a little bit of a surprise first person out of the water.
Yeah, for sure. Catherine Jameson of Great Britain, she was a late entrance to the race. I think she wasn't on many of the start lists, so everyone was wondering who Catherine was. But, a good all-round athlete. But I think as we see Mary Beth Ellis here, as you know, Bob, Mary Beth is one of the best in the world.
She's won 8 Ironman titles. She's simply the honey badger. And she just switched coaches. She was with Siri Lindley. She went back to her coach Brett Sutton, who she had so much success with. Michelle Vesterby had a great swim. The other side of it, the challenge is one of the few races races that has a 20-meter draft rule. And I know for someone who's a good cyclist like Michelle, she knows the people in front of her can't be sitting in, right? Mentally that has to be helpful.
Yeah, for sure. If you're a strong cyclist, the 12-meter rule, which